Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure, a big golden book, illustrated by Tommy Stubbs. It was a sunny day on the island of Sodor. A perfect day, thought Thomas, for a racing birdie. Express coming through, he peeped as he sped past Birdie. The passengers inside his coaches, Annie and Clarabelle, bounced about like peas in a frying pan. You know that Sir Topham Hatt does not approve of you racing, Annie said. Nonsense! I'll always be Sir Topham Hatt's #1 engine, Thomas puffed. My branch line is the most important part of the whole railway. On the other side of Sodor, a new branch line was being built between Arlesburg Harbor and Harwich. Marian, the railway steam shovel, traveled through Arlesburg Junction on her way to the new branch line. Suddenly, Marian saw something she couldn't believe. Tiny little engines. A brake van named Tone laughed. Haven't you ever seen miniature engines before? He introduced Marian to Mike, Rex, and Bert. They were very small engines who helped take heavy goods to the big engines. Marian was sure they were magical. I bet they make wishes come true, she thought. The next morning, Gordon was waiting for Thomas to bring in his coaches. But Thomas was still being very cheeky and sped off with the coaches himself. He raced past Gordon, pulling the coaches faster and faster, until he reached a red signal. Cinders and ashes, Thomas gasped as he came to a sudden stop. But the coaches didn't stop. They flew right off the tracks. Sir Topham Hatt was not happy when he heard about what Thomas had done. He ordered Thomas to work on a new branch line. But sir, what about my branch line? Thomas peeped. Just then a new engine named Ryan rolled up. I was invited to look after that branch line. Ah, said Sir Topham Hatt. My new tank engine is here. Thomas couldn't believe it. A new tank engine? Thomas went to work on the new branch line, but he didn't pay any attention to danger signs. Suddenly the earth crumbled away beneath him and the tracks buckled and broke. Thomas crashed down into a giant underground cavern. Fizzling fireboxes! Where am I? He peeped. As Thomas looked around the cavern, he saw something amazing. There in front of him was an old pirate ship. After Emily towed Thomas for repairs, Rocky pulled the pirate ship up out of the cavern. How did anyone get that in there? Asked Elfie. Jack thought someone had built it in there, like a ship in the bottle. Nonsense, puffed Donald. There must have been a way to sail in. Aye, agreed Douglas. Maybe the cavern entrance collapsed. If there's a buried pirate ship, maybe it might just be buried treasure. Marian peeped. She made a wish to the little magical engines that she would dig up the treasure. Not far off Arlesburg Bay, a mysterious sailor stood in his sailboat, holding his telescope. Stop bobbing about, he commanded his tiny boat. Sorry, the boat replied through a mouthful of water. The sailor raised his telescope to watch the excitement at the new branch line and started to make a plan. That night, Thomas went to the sheds to rest, but Ryan, the new tank engine, was already there. He invited Thomas in, but Thomas steamed past. I'd rather sleep on a siding by myself, he puffed grumpily. Thomas rolled into the darkness. As he settled down, he heard rustling. He looked up and saw a ghost ship glowing in the dark. Thomas followed the eerie sailboat. A ghostly figure stood upon its deck. It glided past the danger signs right up to the edge of the hole that led into the cavern. That's when Thomas realized it wasn't a ghost boat. He's got wheels. Why are you sneaking about after me? The man asked. Thomas introduced himself. I discovered this cavern and the pirate ship, but Rocky's gotten all the credit. Well, that makes us friends, the man replied. My name is Sailor John, and I'm Skiff, the boat said. We're looking for the treasure. Sailor John tied a rope around his waist and Thomas lowered him into the cavern. Sailor John gave me my wheels after you found the ship, Skiff explained. This way we can search on land. I found it, Sailor John exclaimed from the hole. The treasure? Thomas and Skiff asked. No, the sailor called back. The map! The sun was rising as Thomas returned to the new branch line. Ryan called to him. Thomas, did I see you with a sailboat? No, Thomas peeped. No, you didn't. I guess it was just a dream, Ryan said. Ryan went to an old hopper to fill up with coal. Thomas knew it was bad coal, but he didn't say anything. That afternoon, Ryan went to fetch some dynamite for Marion. When he returned, his funnel was spitting sparks because of the bad coal. The sparks set the trucks with the dynamite on fire. Thomas rushed to help. He buffered up to the flaming trucks to push them out of the yards. In the confusion, the signalman switched the tracks, sending Thomas towards the cavern. Thomas's brakes squealed as the trucks rolled into the giant hole. The dynamite exploded with a mighty kaboom. Sir Topham Hatt was very upset. He ordered Thomas to stay in a siding for the rest of the day. The other engines continued to work. It was a quiet and uneventful afternoon, until Marion's shovel uncovered a treasure chest. Her wish had come true. But there was one person who wasn't pleased by the discovery. Sailor John. "I haven't searched all this time to see that treasure be put in a museum," he growled at Thomas later that day. Skiff was confused. "But you always said we would give it to the museum." Thomas pushed Skiff and Sailor John aside and rushed away. Thomas returned to the new branch line as soon as the sun was setting. Ryan rolled up next to him. "Thank you for helping me with the dynamite," Ryan peeped. "I'm sorry I got you into trouble." "I should be the one saying sorry," Thomas replied. "I should have warned you about the bad coal." Ryan smiled and invited Thomas into the sheds. "That's all right," Thomas peeped. "I think I'll spend the night in Knapford, just in case." "In case of what?" Ryan asked, but Thomas was already gone. At Knapford Station, Thomas hid behind some sheds near Sir Topham Hatt's office, where the treasure had been locked away in a safe. He waited and waited, and eventually fell asleep. While Thomas slept, Skiff and Sailor John rolled up to the platform. "I don't want any part of this," Skiff protested, but Sailor John didn't listen. He snuck into the office and stole the treasure. "Help!" cried Skiff. "Help!" Thomas woke and started to chase after them. "You have to call me Pirate John from now on," the sailor yelled from his boat with an evil laugh. Thomas raced as fast as he could. His whistle blew a warning to all the nearby trains. "Express coming through!" Rex, Mike, and Bert rushed to help. They dumped ballast on the tracks. The escaping boat crashed right through. Ryan tried to slow them down too, but it didn't work. "Thomas!" Skiff shouted. "Run me off the rails! I won't mind!" Thomas sped up and bumped Skiff. The tiny boat flew over the rails and splashed into the harbor. Screech! Thomas tried to brake, but he couldn't. He leaped off the rails and came to rest in the surf. Skiff rocked back and forth, taking on water. "The treasure is too heavy," he cried. "Throw it overboard or it will be sunk." "No!" shouted Sailor John. "Sail on, I tell you!" Skiff managed to hit Sailor John with his boom and knocked him into the water. In the commotion, the treasure toppled over too. It sank beneath the waves. The police soon arrived and took Sailor John away. Divers rescued the treasure and delivered it to the Arlsberg Museum just in time for the completion of the new branch line. "My engines are much more important to me than any treasure," Sir Topham Hatt said, "and you, Thomas, are my number one." He let Thomas roll through and break the ribbon, opening the line. Thomas was very happy to be such an important and really useful engine. He blew his whistle, and all the engines cheered. The end. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. These videos are so much fun to make, so please, if you do enjoy these videos, leave me a like or a comment or even subscribe. I do these videos once a year for every special that comes out, and I am very excited for this DVD release. So please, give me your opinions of this special in the comments below and how excited you all are for this DVD release. So thank you for watching, have a nice day, and see you in Season 4 of Tales from the Rails.